Hey everybody, I've got a problem. Let me tell you a little bit about how I make my dumb doorbell a bit smarter. So here's the problem. It's October of 2020, which means me, like many others, are working at home on a full-time basis. And I have a bunch of my kids' friends who do come through the day and ring the doorbell. Yes, this does happen quite regularly. It's something that is a little challenging because my kids aren't here. We've got the whole split thing going on where some kids are in school, some are homeschooling. And this just seems to happen while my kids are in school. And because I'm working at home, I want to find a way to silence that doorbell. I don't have a smart doorbell because I understand that some of those smart doorbells, you can go in and shut it off. But I also have been wanting to get a little bit more notifications and information about when that doorbell rings. It's really handy if you want to go and check some footage and get notified when you're out of the house. Things like that. It's good to have that time stamp of when the doorbell rang. And so I want to show you how I'm going to do that. It's going to involve one of these. It's a Sage Doorbell Sensor. It is a Zigbee doorbell sensor. Apparently this company went away shortly after creating it, so they are quite inexpensive on eBay. And the way it works is there's a battery in there, and it hooks up to the contacts that are on your doorbell chime. So I got a bit of a plan on how I'm going to make this all work with my Hubitat, and it's going to start by turning off the power and getting into my doorbell chime. Let's go ahead and go through that. So I'm going to go and open this up. And I looked at this already. In order to get the doorbell sensor installed, I wanted to have it originally hang on the side so that I could go and close this. But the problem is the box won't close because there's a bit of a bend there that I just can't get around. So I'm going to actually have to set it on top and fish this in here. So I'm going to go and install this. And once I'm done, I'll put the box back on, but only after another critical step. All right, so now I've got this in here, but what is that critical step? Well, I need to make sure it's not going to ring anymore. So what I'm going to do is take two pieces of high quality, highly technical foam. Yes, it's high quality, high technical. It's definitely not a thing that I ripped off of one of those pick-a-pack things, you know, the pick-a-pack foam that you can go and choose your own sizes. Definitely not that. But I'm going to have to use two so that I can get it so it doesn't ding or dong. Once I get this all installed into here, it will no longer ring. And then we can go get it all paired after I put this back on. And I might have to play a little bit with the cord, but I'll tape that down afterwards. So now it's time to get to the Hubitat programming. So this is where the smart aspect really comes in. I'm going to now go and supplement what used to be my chime, because there's foam blocks in there, it's not going to chime anymore, with Google Home Mini audio. Yes, I have Google Home Minis around the house. I use them for Hubitat integration where it'll send messages or warnings and things like that through there. If there's a water leak, it announces it over the Google Home Minis. Well, I'm going to do that with my Bell because, again, those foam blocks, it's not going to chime. So I have gone and I've already pre-paired it with the Hubitat. I went and the pairing was very easy. There's a little plastic thing. I pulled it out from the battery. Of course, had the power turned back on and then started the Zigbee pairing on the Hubitat. It worked fine. The only thing was I had read there were some quirks and things like that. So I went and I sourced a third-party driver that apparently works better. I'll put the link to that third-party driver in the description if you want to get that for your Hubitat. If you're going to do that, if you're not using Hubitat, you'll have to figure that out on your own. But let's get into the actual programming. And the first thing I'm going to do is create a virtual switch. And the reason I want to go and create a virtual switch is because I want to be able to shut this off. I want to just have a toggle that I'll be able to control with other programming and things like that. But I want to go and put a virtual switch in that I will work into the programming. So I'll just go in and name it Doorbell. Actually, I'm not going to name it Doorbell because the doorbell is the name of the actual device. So I'll call Doorbell Enabled. And we'll give it the same label. And this is just a virtual switch. And then I'll be set here. So now I've got my virtual switch, and I'm going to program it so that when the switch is on, the doorbell is on, and when the switch is off, the doorbell is disabled. And now I'm going to head into my rule machine as I scroll through all of these things. I'm going to start a new rule, and we'll call this doorbell rule. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to start off by saying select trigger events. And we will go button because this shows up as a button. And there it is right there, doorbell. Hit update. And it is button number 1. I believe button number 2 would be if you have a rear doorbell. So when it's pushed, it's going to activate this rule. And the first thing I'm going to do is put a condition in. So I'm going to start with a conditional action. If, and we'll start off here, a switch, which is going to be that doorbell one. And we'll go doorbell enabled. If doorbell enabled is on, and we'll continue through here. That's the first condition. What I want to go and do is have it play. Actually, first, I'm going to have it control the Google Home Mini. So we'll go control music player, and we'll go set volume. And I'll start, and I'm select my entryway speaker. There's a speaker right there in the entry. I'll also do it in my living room and my bedroom. And then we'll set it to 100%. So now it's going to go and turn up all the volume to 100%. And I'll likely turn this down, but we'll start with the 100%. Why not? And then I'm going to have it, and I could have it speak a message. So I'll have it say, the doorbell is, ringing. Almost spelled that wrong. And I'll go and I'll say use speech device. And we'll select again the entry, the bedroom, and the living room. And we'll go in here and we'll go done. And then we will end my if statement. So now if the doorbell switch is on, set the volume to 100%, and then say the doorbell is ringing. And I want to add something else because even when the switch is off, I want to make sure that I have the ability to be able to get notified. So if I want it muted in the day, I'll still get a notification on my phone so that I'll know that someone's at the door, but it won't actually ring. So this is going to be after the if. So what's going to happen is this is going to run no matter what. And I'm going to go down here and I'm going to go send or speak or log a message. And I'll go send a message. And we'll go, the doorbell is ringing. And actually, I'll, for good measure, put in here the date and the time. So I'll know what date and time it is. And I will select my Pixel 4a. That's why it says Stevens 4a. And then we'll go done. So now this is going to, if that switch is enabled, speak the message. And all the time, it will also tell me on my phone that the doorbell is ringing. But here's the thing. It's not good enough for me because my theory is this. If I have a voice saying the doorbell is ringing, people are going to ignore it. It might take them a little bit of time to get used to that. People who are maybe used to ringing the doorbell and hearing a ring outside might wonder, is it ringing? You know how you've done that. You've pressed the doorbell and you're like, I don't hear a sound. What's going on? So I have gone and ahead of time, I have recorded my own doorbell sound because I want the house, everybody who's used to hearing this sound, to be able to hear the same sound when it rings. It'll be slightly delayed, I'm sure, as my experience with the Hubitat speaking and playing service has been, but it will still be something people will hear the sound they're used to. So I'm going to now go, and this would work. The way this is now would completely work, but instead I'm going to delete my speak, and I'm going to replace that with a play of that audio that I recorded. So I'll go in here and I'll go insert before the end if. I will go run custom action. This is what you need to do with Hubitat if you're going to play audio. Which action? I'm going to run custom action here. And then it's an actuator. Yes, believe it or not, it's an actuator. And I'll select the same thing. And for some reason, there's a lot more that show up here. So I'll go entryway speaker. I'll come all the way down to living room. And then as well, actually, you know what? I'll just leave it at those two. And I'm going to go run custom command, play track, string. And then I will put in my URL that I've got where I've uploaded this sound to. And then I will hit done with this action. So now what it's going to do, instead of speaking, it's the same idea, but instead it's going to play the MP3 that I have uploaded when the doorbell rings. So now it's just a matter of hitting done with the actions, saving it again, and then ringing the doorbell. So you can see there's a little bit of a lag, but you know what? It's good enough for now. I want to know, what do you think? Are you looking at this right now saying, Steven, you screwed it up. I know you've made a mistake. It's going to cause you a ton of headache. Let me know. What other ideas do you have? Please write them in the comments below. A couple things that I've got off the top of my head is maybe have it do a light indication. So if it's at a certain time, it just flashes a light in the living room. Another idea I have is if I could put just like a one-directional speaker, because I don't want people controlling my stuff from outside, but maybe put like just a speaker out in the entry. So if someone, say, rings it more than once in the course of like 30 seconds, it just starts playing a pre-recorded audio of me doing something like, get off my lawn, go away, you know, just yelling, things like that. So what ideas do you have? Write them in the comments below. Again, if you think I've screwed up, write those as well. And if you did like this, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, do all those things that they tell you to do at the end of these videos, something about giving away your firstborn kid. I don't know. Everybody always yells at you at the end of these videos to do something. I'm sure you know better than me of what you're supposed to do right now. Thanks for watching.